Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nimakung.
I'm Van Chan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you a part of Great Expectations.
As.
Ah.
Great Expectations. Charles Dickens. Chapter 42, Second 1. The boy and Pip's comrade. I am not going for to tell you my life like a son, or a storybook, but to give it you short and handy. I'll put it at once into a mouthful of English. In jail and out of jail. In jail and out of jail. In jail and out of jail. There. You've got it. That's my life pretty much. Down to such times as I got shipped off. Arthur Pip stood my friend. I've been done everything to. Pretty well except and. I've been locked up as much as a silver tea kettle. I've been carted here and carted there. And put out of this town. And put out of that town. And stuck in the stocks. And worried and drove. I've no more notion where I was born than you have it so much. I first become aware of myself down in Essex. A thieving turnips for my living. Some man had run away from me Monaghan County, took the fire with him. And left me worry cold. I knowed my name to be Megwitch. Cries and Tibble. How did I know it? Much as I knowed the birds' names in the hedges to be Chaffinch. Sorry. Thorsh. I might have thought it was all lies together. Only as the birds' names come out true. I suppose mine did. So far as I could find. There was a soul that sea on Megwitch. With this little on him as a name. But what caught fright at him. And either drove him off, or took him up. I was took up. Took up. Took up. To that extent that I regularly growed up took up. This is the way it was. I see not that I looked in the glass. For there weren't many insides of furnished houses known to me. I got the name of being hardened. This is a terrible hardened one, they says to prison visitors. Picking out me. Maybe said to live in jails. This way. Then they looked at me. And I looked at them. And they measured my head. What I couldn't read. And made me speeches what I couldn't understand. They always went on edging me about the devil. But what the devil was I to do? I must put something into my stomach. Mustn't I? Show some burr. I'm a-getting low. And I know what's due. Dear boy and Pip's comrade. Don't you be afraid of me being low. Tramping. Dating. Thieving. Working sometimes when I called off that warrants as often as you may think. Or so's a bit of a poacher. A bit of a labourer. A bit of a wagoner. A bit of a haymaker. A bit of a hawker. A bit of most things that don't pay and lead to trouble. I got to be a man. A deserting soldier in a traveller's rest. What lay it up to the chin under a lot of tatters? Learn me to read. To write. I once locked up as a fin now as formerly. But I wore out my good share of key metal still. at up some races. A match of over 20 years ago. I got acquainted why a man whose skull I'd crack why this poker. Like the claw of a lobster. If I got it on this hob. His right name was Compison. And that's the man. Hibbe. What you see me a pounding in the ditch. According to what you truly told your comrade I was gone last night. He set up for a gentleman. This Compison. And he'd been to a public boarding school and had learning. He was a smooth one to talk. And was dab at the ways of gentlefolks. He was good looking too. It was the night afore the great race. When I found him on the heath. In a booth that I knowed on. Him and some more was a-sitting among the tables when I went in. And the landlord which had a knowledge of me. And was a sporting one called him out. And said, I think this is a man that might seek you, meaning I was. Compison. He looks at me very noticing. And I look at him. Handsome suit of clothes. To judge from appearances. You're out of luck, says Compison to me. Yes. Sir. On a vagrancy committal. Not but what it might have been for something else. Luck changes, says Compison. I says. I hope it may be so. What can you do? Says Compison. Eat and drink, I says. Compison laughed. Looked at me again very noticing. Give me 5 shillings. And appointed me for next night. Same place. I went to Compison next night. Same place. And Compison took me on to be his man partner. And what was Compison's business in which we was to go partners? Compison's business was the swindling. And rating fudging. Stolen banknote passing. And such like. All sorts of traps as Compison could set with his head. Man in fall. Was Compison's business. He'd no more heart than iron file. He was as cold as death. And he had the head of the devil aforementioned. There was another in with Compison. As a Scoldorth or not as being so christened. But as a surname. He was in a decline. And was a shadow to look at. Afore. And they'd made a pot of money by it. But Compison bitted and gamed. And he'd have run through the king's taxes. So Arthur was a dying. And a dying person with the horrors on him. Pid. And Compison was a having pity on nothing and nobody. I might have took warning by Arthur. But I didn't. And I won't pretend I was particular for where it'd be the good on it. View boy and comrade? So I begun my Compison. And poor till I was in his hands. Arthur lived at the top of Compison's house over in Brentford it was. And Compison kept a careful account in him for board and lodging. In case he should ever get better to work it out. But Arthur soon settled the account. The second or third time as ever I see him. He come a-tearing down into Compison's parlour late at night. In only a flannel gown. With his hair all in a sweat. And he says to Compison's wife, Ali, she really is upstairs longer me. And I can't get rid of her. She's all in white, he says. Why white flowers in her hair? And she's awful mad. And she's got a shard hanging over her arm. Says Compison. Why? You fool. Don't you know she's got a living body? And how should she be up there? Without coming through the door. Or in at the window. I don't know how she's there, says Arthur, shivering dreadful with the horrors. But she's standing in the corner at the foot of the bed. Awful mad. Compison spoke hardy. But he was always a coward. Go up longer this drivelling sick man, he says to his wife. And Magwitch. Lend her hand. Will you? But he never come nigh himself. Compison's wife and me to come up to bed. And he raved most dreadful. Why, look at her, he cries out. She's a-shaking the shroud at me. Did you see her? Look at her eyes. Ain't it awful to see her so mad? He cries. She'll put it on me. And then I'm done for. Take it away from her. Take it away. And then he catched hold of us. And kept on a-talking to her. And answering of her. Till I have believed I see her myself. Compison's wife. Being used to him. Gave him some liquor to get the horrors off. And by he quieted. Though. To be continued.